Throw the chips in, Russian roulette, I then feel it in the wind, grin when I sit, walking contradictions of wheelchairs and penny loafers. The coldest hangovers, troubled waters, dream to be the soul controllers. Make history synergy, indestructible touch. Roll up in the truck, nasty lust for a slut. Trying to follow the lead, can see greed while the weavers intrigue. Step the game up, I agree.
All the South stuff is whack, it's whack, it's whack. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think it's still hip hop. I may not like all of it, but I still have to respect it as part of rap, as part of the hip hop sphere.
Right.
I have to.
Right.
You know, so, you know, I joked about Trinidad James.
Or Louisiana during the 80s and the 90s, you would know, like, people really did not, like, Atlanta was like a whole different world. And, you know.
But just Atlanta or Georgia in itself?
Atlanta was
Atlanta's not really. I mean, it is the South.
You don't look at it as the South because it's the
like,
city.
like for
now,
instance, we don't view North Carolina as the South.
I do.
Yeah, I do.
We don't. Like like I said,
you talking in Louisiana?
Yeah, I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We don't view North Carolina as the South.
What about Virginia?
No.
Really?
We don't think of Virginia as the South. If you ask a person from Louisiana, is Virginia the South? They would say no.
Like the whole of Virginia?
Because they look at the Deep South. They consider the Deep South to be the South. So so technically, yes, Virginia is part of the South. Technically, yes, North Carolina is part of the South. But when we talk about, you know, the South, we're talking about the Deep South. And so, like, there's a different.
Can you get at the bottom?
There's a different lifestyle that you go through in the Deep South than you do in a lot of other places. You know, so like, I mean, in my lifetime, I've been called a nigger to my face. You know, and you got to sit there and swallow that. And you got current situations in Louisiana. Like right now, I grew up in Baton Rouge. You have a situation where like there's a whole part of the city that's trying to secede from the city because, you know, a lot of people are saying it's racial. They're saying, you know, certain people are trying to flee.
But the South Side was trying to do that. Texas is still trying to secede from
right
to this day.
But that's why all of these places people are like, this is the South, because to this day we're still going through these issues, these Southern issues that you're not really going through. You can't go to Arlington and say you're going through this issue. It's not happening. You know, Alexandria or wherever. Richmond, they're not going through that same issue that New Orleans is going through.
Through just the present day.
Present day.
So people then in Baton Rouge, they don't give a fuck about the Civil War. They're like, geographically, them niggas is north of us.
They don't.
Oh, the Clips is pretty much a Southern artist.
Right.
Pretty much.
Geographically, not style.
Nobody in the South considers.
Not style wise, no.
Right. Nobody in the South considers Pusha T to be a Southern rapper.
Pharrell, Southern would be considered a Southern producer. Geographically, I mean, Virginia.
See, that's why I'm not even going off of this geographic stuff. You know,
right?
We're talking about culturally. You know,
culturally. Okay.
Culturally.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Culturally.
So, do you think there should be a new genre for?
No.
Dude,
Should all of that be hip hop?
So at the end of the day, man, I'm getting to the point where I don't really care about all these labels and everybody's got a spin-off genre and all this stuff.
If you were to pair a southern artist with a producer, who would it be? Your top collaboration.
Top collaboration? Only reason I would try to do a collaboration that I wouldn't see coming. Like I would, you know, that probably wouldn't happen. So I'm trying to think like what's something that I just never would think would happen.
My joint is DJ Premier and 2 Chainz.
I don't know if I would feel
I can see that.
I can see it.
I can see that.
I actually can see it. But
you like 2 Chainz?
Huh? I think he's entertaining.
Okay.
Entertainment wise, I like 2 Chainz. But rap wise, no.
We were talking. I would actually like to see 8 Ball and Alchemist. I think 8 Ball and Alchemist.
But go back to your question. What would be the difference between 2 Chainz and Group Home? Silence. So, exactly.
No. So if you really want to be honest, I was just deferring.
If we talking about lyrics,
so that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about credibility. We're talking about so group.
I think 2 Chainz has credibility.
You think
as an artist?
You think he does?
No, I ain't talking about as an artist. I'm not talking about.
I mean, as an MC.
I'm not talking about as an artist. I'm talking about just because the reason a lot of people bought the group home stuff and it's the same reason they bought a lot of 90s stuff. People want to believe what they're listening to. Period. You know, so it's funny. Me and my brother were actually kind of having a conversation about this because he listens to a lot of stuff from back home in Baton Rouge and stuff. And one of the things that's a difference between Atlanta and Baton Rouge, Atlanta, you got like a lot of these artists, even though you got real MCs, real rappers, but you also got like your Sammys and your, Dancing Kids and R&B and stuff. In certain places down south, like Houston, you don't have like that R&B dancing pop element because the streets is so, that's the thing. Is like you need to be a street artist. And if you're not from the streets, if you're not rapping about street stuff, people don't listen to you. If people don't think you're from the streets, they don't listen to you. So all of these dudes, BG, Juvenile, like all of these are street dudes. If you go out to Houston, Slim Thug, Scarface, all of these people buy this stuff because they believe it. Boosie, Webby. Like, y'all might think like these dudes are like funny, but shit, Boosie is coming out of jail. Like, half of Boosie's appeal is that people are like, we know you really doing the stuff out here that you rapping about. So with that in mind, that's what people were buying Group Home for. People were like, regardless of how I don't think you're so lyrical, like, I believe what you're saying in your song. And we kind of lost
people relate to it.
Right.
And people can relate
and so,
to it.
So it's kind of a different comparison because back then, that's what you were listening to music for, is to actually believe the story you're being told. Nowadays, I don't think that exists so much. So if 2 Chainz comes and says he's chopped a Rolls Royce and a Ferrari together, he spliced them together, he's driving down the hood with this, people don't care that sounds absolutely unbelievable. That as long as he says it in a funny way, right. People don't care about believing it anymore. Like Ross says certain stuff, and I don't believe it anymore. But people are not buying it for believability.
Exactly.
So it's a difficult comparison to make. Like, oh, well, you bought Group Home back in the day. What's the difference between Group Home rapping over Premier and 2 Chainz rapping over Premier? Well, when I bought Group Home, I'm buying it because I'm trying to believe what I wanted to. What I'm hearing.
You're trying to believe.
I'm trying to believe because at the end of the day, it's a lot of people.
The reality of it is that rap has become. Is transformed into a clear moneymaker. Before it was just, hey, I'm telling my story from my block in Brooklyn, in Boston, in Houston, in Atlanta. This is my story from my block. Now it's, I can make money doing this. I mean, real money. I mean, when the game changed and it became really financial, then it's like, oh, well, yeah, I'm sure. You got kids from wherever. Oh, yeah, I'm from blah, blah, blah. I'm from Fifth Ward or whatever.
Yeah, people are listening to music for a different purpose. Right. Like I said, when I was growing up, I'm listening to people to hear their story. Whatever story you're telling me, I'm listening for that story.
The message. You listen to that, you're like, yo, broken
glass. But I mean, just like if you listen to Mobb Deep, Mobb Deep, Infamous, they're talking about.
You really believe that shit when you first.
You're right. You kind of believe it when you first heard it.
Right.
But as time goes on, people kind of spoiled it for you and whatever.
Right.
But Nas, I'm listening to.
Start punching niggas in the face just for living.
Nas, I'm listening.
You really believe little short ass niggas gonna punch people in the face for living?
Right.
So now, respect the hate.
Right, yeah, for real. You're jumping out the window, man. Like, damn.
But
No, the first time I met Alright, I'm gonna tell this story. First time Mobb Deep came to Boston.
I got a Mobb Deep story too after this. Go ahead.
They were at this club called K's. They had the tour bus outside. Club was packed. They came and went upstairs to like the little VIP section. They wouldn't perform. They were scared to come down and perform. Seriously. It's a true story.
So I have never.
I don't know if they were scared to perform. I don't know if they. You know what? Let me back that up. I don't know if they were scared to perform, but they didn't perform.
Were they slated to perform?
They were slated. They were paid to perform. I know. My man was the promoter. They were paid to perform. I don't know why they didn't perform. The crowd was packed. I mean, the club was packed. You go, K's. Yeah.
There was a club in Laurel called Dinosaurs. Mobb Deep came to perform. The day they came to perform, I had moved. So like I was like somebody called me was like Mobb Deep was at Dinah. So I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even change clothes. I show up at the club. I got a box cutter in my back pocket from cutting boxes open. Like I get to, I'm like, the dude is looking at me like.
I'd have been like, yo,
Mobb Deep, you brought a box cutter.
I'd have been like, yo, I left something in my car.
Yeah, just go back to, you didn't just go throw it in the car and come back.
I did, but
Oh, okay.
that's when I realized these dudes were 4 or 5. Like these,
This is 4 or 5.
these
I stood
dudes
right next to him in the club.
are
I was like,
the size of Music Soul Child. It's like Havoc is probably this tall, and Havoc ain't that much taller.
Prodigy.
Prodigy.
Yeah.
Who did I say?
Havoc. You said Havoc and Havoc. Like Simon and Simon. That's
right.
Showing age right now. I'm talking
No,
some
but-
Simon and
but-
Simon.
I mean, but when you listen to Infamous, you're like,
You
oh,
believe
this is a
everything.
tour through Queensbridge. Like, yo,
Right.
it's wild.
And so
like,
that's the point that I'm making, you know, to kind of go back to it. Like to sit up and say today, like, what's the difference between 2 Chainz rapping over Premier and Group Home rapping over Premier? When I was growing up in the 90s, you know, that's what I'm looking for. When Raekwon and Ghost come with this story, I'm trying to figure out, like, what are they telling me from Staten Island, from
right.
Park Hill, from Stapleton? Like, I'm trying to listen to it to figure out what life is like in Stapleton.
But
You know?
who can you believe now, really, when you listen
That's
to the
the
song?
that's the point. That's
and here's the other
that's
problem.
the point.
Internet ruined it for a lot of us too, because you would hear these stories and you'd be like, oh, it's like this and like that, and then people start Googling stuff. It's like finding out who sampled it. You can go online and what sample is this? You can just look it up now. Before you had to listen. Oh, wow, you're in the record store listening to something. Oh, wow, that's such and such. It's not like that anymore. The internet, the information age is ruined.
And you know, and Jay-Z fucked it up for Nas, talking about, nigga, you ain't see a Uzi till we showed.
He was on tour.
Yeah. Like, and then Nori fucked it up. Yeah, I smashed the nigga over the head with a flower pot. I'm like, oh.
He said he was
Nas getting fucked up.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, somebody got smashed over the head with a flower pot.
I know.
Despite the
So I know. Nori was having beef with Mobb Deep for a minute. You know, and so I saw the videos behind that because Prodigy came out that book, My Infamous Life, and
I think he got
he got a lot of flack for that. Like,
because he was telling.
Oh, so I'm not.
One of my favorite producers is actually Pete Rock, though.
So Gadget, what was the one you said?
I said 2 Chainz and Premier.
You said 2 Chainz Premier. I said A-Ball and Alchemist.
Yeah, I would do.
Hold on.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I got paint.
I got paint. That's what I do. Paint.
Nah, I think something weird. I would say Andre 3000 and RZA.
Ooh.
And see, that's the type of picks I like. Is the stuff that like you wouldn't see coming.
I think that would be something interesting.
Yeah, that's the type. Of,
Yeah,
that's the type of picks I like. I like that. I like that pick. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with my A-Ball and Alchemist. Though. I think that would.
I would say Pete Rock and Scarface.
I can see that though.
I can see that too.
Yeah, but
it'd be
I
hot.
think, yeah, it would be.
I mean,
it would be hot. Yeah.
It'd be. Or yeah, Pete Rock and Scarface. Faces.
Now to segue off of that, how come you think there are certain East Coast artists from the 90s that have never worked with each other, like Premier and Busta, like to my knowledge have never done a song together?
Yeah. I mean,
Large Professor and Jay-Z have never done a song together. Large Professor and OC have never done a song together. Like,
so I think it's because, man, a lot back then, I think a lot of people were really concerned with preserving their style. So for instance, they were saying that they had a big falling out, but they mended it, and that's why they came together on this one and finally came back together.
Oh, to do this new
To
album.
do this new album.
Right, yeah.
But they hadn't worked together.
Timbaland hadn't worked since
Blueprint. Blueprint. Was he on Blueprint?
Is that your
No.
chick?
What?
No,
No,
that wasn't
it was
it.
whatever the big.
no, he was Timberland was on Blueprint 2.1 or whatever.
Yeah, the second one, the
Yeah.
one with the.
He had 2 versions of Blueprint.
Yeah.
Right, no, I remember that. But what song did Timbaland do on there?
Not Hovey Baby. He did
Because that was Dre. Dre was Dre that did?
That was Just Blaze, right?
No, Dre did.
He did the
Things
Watcher.
Just Ain't the Same for Gangsters, and I'm a little too famous to shoot these prices.
That was the La Familia.
Okay. Dre
It's been a while.
Yeah.
But you know, back on why certain people hadn't worked together, I think people were trying to preserve their style, like and make it where, like they were exclusive, you know. And so, for instance, like when Biggie came out with Life After Death, and RZA did a beat on there, I was like, RZA did a beat for Biggie? That's outside of Woo.
And Woo
Right.
was,
Like-
that was with Woo and Bad Boy was that whole gold thing.
Yeah.
Back,
But just
skits dissing him.
But RZA didn't
Yeah.
produce for too many people, you know.
Right.
And so it was just like it was a huge event to have a RZA beat on your album, you know.
But he had Method Man on the album too.
He had him right.
So there was a link right there.
Right. He had him on the first album.
Right.
But you know, even that was a big thing, you know, at the time to have Method Man on the album, like to have Nas on Cuban Links, like that was a huge thing, because Nas was the only person to guest star on the Woo album.
Yeah. How come like Biggie never had a song with like Mobb Deep, but there's a video with Biggie and Mobb Deep. What song
There's
is
a
that?
video with Puffy and Mobb Deep, which is Survival of the Fittest. I've never seen a Biggie and Mobb Deep.
No, isn't Mobb Deep in It Was All a Dream? Mobb Deep isn't in that video?
Juicy?
Juicy.
No, Juicy?
Nah,
I don't think so.
So Puff is
They
They
in.
might be. They might have had a cameo on One More Chance within the Brownstones, the party.
No.
If maybe.
So Puff is in the Survival of the Fittest video. Puff is like
I didn't even know there was a video for Survival.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So
'cause
they're
he's
coming out
driving
of the
around the car.
store. They're coming out of the store, and Puff is like at the beginning, like
That's right.
coming on the
And-
Survival. So one collaboration that I'm actually shocked. There's a couple of collaborations that I'm shocked never happened, and I tell you, it was Boot Camp Click and Mobb Deep, because Havoc is actually on You the Man on the end of the stage for Black Moon. And so like if you look at the credits and stuff, they're all like Black Moon, Mobb Deep, like they seem like they're all super cool, but that collaboration never happened. So I actually wondered why Mobb Deep and Black Moon never did anything together. And I was kind of curious as to why MOP didn't do more stuff with Boot Camp Click, because they're all from Brownsville. So I know Smith & Wesson has like one song with MOP, but I would have thought, and to that end, I would imagine like Smooth the Hustler would have done something with MOP as well, because I know him and Fame actually know each other. So like it's some
Hold on. Smooth the Hustler never did a song with MOV?
Not that I know of. Right. Think that would have been killer. I mean to get all, because like I say, Steel from Smith & Wesson is from Brownsville. MOP is from Brownsville. Smooth the Hustler's from Brownsville. Imagine if that.
I know Smooth the Hustler. I gotta call him and ask him.
Make that happen. Like
Why did that happen?
I would kill for that song. Smooth the Hustler, Steel, or any of the OGC, dudes on the Brown. Helter Skelter's from Brownsville. MOP, Rock, or Sean P. MOP, Sean P. Steel, Smooth the Hustler. That would be a collaboration for you. So
what happened to MOP? Like, why didn't they blow like they should have?
I think that the industry wasn't ready for a super aggressive hip hop group like that.
The thing about it is
they play by their own rules to me.
Right. MOP, which is the reason why MOP is actually one of my absolute favorite groups. Like I got MOP Firing Squad in the car playing that. I thought you were gonna say MOP Lunchbox.
No.
Okay. I got MOP Firing Squad in the car, man. I mean, I bump that album all the time. Firing Squad, New Jack City, Brownsville, all of those songs. And MOP, man, I got like the utmost respect for them, because they just play by their own rules. And to say they didn't blow, I don't know if that's really the case.
When I say, you know what I mean, they should have been more successful. They should have been more. That's what I mean. I didn't mean.
They did have a song with what's the boy band? They had a song with a boy band back in the day.
They did.
Yes.
It was like
that was
LFO or something like that.
Yeah, LMO was some shit.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a song
that was a good look.
I wasn't.
The group was like Hanson. They were kind of like that, and they did a song with MOP.
So, but see, this is the thing.
You
man.
had that in the crates?
No.
MOP, man, they played by their own rules, and they refused to compromise on what they were trying to do. And so, I mean, to that end, Boot Camp Click did too. Yeah. Which is why, you know, like, they're not as big as they could have been. You know,
because when MOP got to rock, I was like,
I was like,
done.
This is
They're about to go.
Yeah. When they got on that Jay-Z remix,
yeah,
I said it's about to be on.
Yes.
Yeah, MOP, man. I mean that's my group, man. But just like I say, Black Moon, Smith and Wesson, they're pretty much the same way. Like, they didn't compromise. And
how big do you think Eminem would have been if he had signed the Duck Down instead of Aftermath? How successful?
I don't think it's successful. Nah. Because the thing about it is, I mean, there's people who signed the Duck Down. Sky Zoo, Torre, recent dudes, you know, Marco Polo. And not saying Duck Down is not a good label, but...
Talking about back then, though.
I mean, even back then, like, it wasn't like any of them were ever on top of the world.
And
like,
you don't have the money.
Like, Black Moon, as big as Black Moon was never the biggest group. You know, Black Moon never eclipsed Wu. No. Black Moon never eclipsed Puffy. You know, Smith and Wesson never eclipsed any of those people. So even back then, when they were big, when they were much bigger than they are now, Duck Down still didn't have them on top of the rap hierarchy, you know? Right. So I don't think Eminem would have benefited from that. Like, he's in the right place with Dre. Dre was the only one that could make it happen to them.
I honestly think Dre didn't want to sign Eminem. I think that was a Jimmy Iovine.
It might have been.
Work with this white boy.
The thing is, I think Eminem would have been successful. Would he have been as big as he is? No. Because Eminem, people needed to see a white artist that was talented. Right.
So the thing about it is, I think being with Dre allowed Eminem to actually develop his own style. You know, because like imagine if Eminem would have sounded like a Puffy.
Right.
Like, you know, and I think that would have been like the worst thing for the both of them.
Would have been like the Locks.
It would have been worse than the Locks.
Yeah, it might have been. Because Stan would have never came out.
Because the thing, I mean, Puff does good with street dudes. Like, Puff Scott had Biggie.
Puff's done good with Biggie.
What's that?
Who else has Puff done good with street?
Black Rob.
Did Black Rob do good though?
Yeah, yes. The first album with Platinum.
Whoa!
Right.
Whoa made that album.
Whoa? No, it's a great album.
Shine.
Dude. So, only reason... Hold on.
Shine wasn't a street artist?
He was.
No, but this is the thing. Like, Puff...
Then he got...
But the album went good, though.
Like, think about this. Black Rob, G-Dep, Shine...
Did you just say G-Dep?
Dude, G-Dep.
G-Dep was nice.
Dude.
No, I'm not talking... Y'all, no. I'm talking about success. Successful artist.
He's on the hate now. Like,
no.
He's on the hate now.
I'm talking about, DJ. And I love Black Rob. Black Rob came to perform at my birthday party. I love Black Rob. That's my dude. Yeah, back in Boston years ago. Yeah.
G-Dep, nice as hell.
No, I'm not saying he's not nice. No. I'm talking about success. The only hardcore artist that Bad Boy had that was truly successful was Biggie. Everybody else after that was they did good. They did okay.
Craig Mack. Flavor in Your Ear, Get Down. That album went platinum.
He didn't have the commercial success Biggie did.
He didn't have the commercial success Biggie did.
That's what I'm saying.
But wait a second. Craig Mack with Flavor in Your Ear and the remix and all of that. Right. Absolutely a huge hit. At the time, Flavor in Your Ear was bigger than anything Biggie had until One More Chance.
Right.
But when he got on the remix, he made Flavor in Your Ear bigger than Craig Mack.
Right, he did. He
cracked it open.
But Craig Mack, when that album came out, Operation Project Funk the World, that album, everybody had that album.
Right.
Get Down and all
when
that
I say
stuff.
like, okay, you look at Rockefeller. Rockefeller had Jay-Z. You had Beans. Beans did well.
Okay.
You had Memphis Bleek never really kind of cracked the ceiling, but he had some decent success. Black Rob and them dudes didn't do like that. They did well.
Black Rob and Beanie Sigel wasn't.
I think everybody.
Beans had platinum, double platinum.
I think everybody who released the album back in the 90s on Bad Boy went platinum.
I think so too.
Their first album. I think Black Rob went platinum with their first
Dude,
album.
G-Dep came out with the Let's Get It special delivery. Do you know how big special delivery was when that came out? Dude, they had the remix with Ghostface,
That was
Craig
great.
Mack, Keith
Right.
Murray.
Right, but I'm saying success. I'm talking about real, like, Biggie success. Like, oh,
Dude,
wow, that's
Biggie had
big.
2 albums. Like, what are we talking about with success? Biggie had a 3 or 4 year
Yeah, but
gap
think
between those albums.
But think about all the appearances.
Dude, our perspectives of Biggie change as time goes on. Like, name all of these cameos that Biggie did.
He was on the joint with Can't You See? He was on the Junior Mafia stuff. He was all over
112.
112.
Y'all naming all bad boy shit. The stuff he's supposed to be on.
Right, but I mean, he was on him. I mean, I mean,
Y'all naming the stuff he's supposed to be on.
Jay-Z,
What was he on with Jay-Z?
Brooklyn's Finest.
Dude, that wasn't even the biggest song on that album by far.
I'm not saying
At
it was,
all.
I'm just saying.
So
I mean,
hold on, what are we arguing here?
So we're talking about success. We're talking about success.
I'm not talking about quality.
So
You
we're
already
talking.
know.
No, we're talking about
Commercial
success.
night.
We're talking about commercial success.
Right.
Brooklyn's Finest did not make Reasonable Doubt into commercial success.
Ho, Mace was more successful than Big.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Y'all think Mace was more successful in
Absolutely.
terms of record
In
sales?
terms of
Yes.
record sales, yes.
Easy.
Harlem World?
Easy.
Yes.
Easy.
I don't
Like
think
I
so.
said.
Yo, throw the chips in, Russian roulette, I then feel it in the wind, grin when I sit, walking contradictions of wheelchairs and penny loafers. The coldest hangovers, troubled waters, dream to be the sole controllers. Make history synergy, indestructible touch. Roll up in the truck, nasty lust for a slut. Trying to follow the lead, conceive greed while the weavers intrigue, step the game up.